Welcome back. This module is all about the internet and campaigning. And by this point, I am sure that you have noticed a couple things, most notably that this particular window does not seem to move. It's just an odd thing. We'll just have to figure it out as we move forward. Another thing that I've figured out through this whole process is that apparently I speak with my hands a lot, so I apologize if that's been distracting you. I don't think that I'm going to be able to stop, so that's just the way that it is. Today we are shifting to a much more political topic, a much more sort of classically political topic, and I think that that will be interesting for a lot of people who are interested in, obviously, in campaigning, in the parties, in elections, and so we'll want to look at how really the evolution of internet and campaigning has taken place, and then ultimately what that means for us today, and really in the future. What are we going to be looking for as the technology race and as the web-based campaigning tools continually move forward, continually trying to innovate, as one party and one campaign tries to out-strategize and sort of out-sophisticate their competition. When we think about internet and campaigning, almost everyone today really focuses on Obama. As you can see here at the top, Arianna Huffington suggests that if it were not for the internet, Barack Obama would not be president. And that is probably true. David Axelrod has said as much, Barack Obama has said as much, but obviously, Barack Obama was not the first to use an internet campaign. He was just the best up until that point to do so. So I really want to start by looking back at some of the early instances and the early innovators when it comes to political campaigning online, and we'll see how that very quickly led to what Obama did in 2008, again in 2012, and see where that is leading us as we move forward. So a broad timeline here. We'll start in the 90s and then very quickly move through the more recent elections. And we'll start over here with 1992, which was the year when the very first internet campaign website occurred, and that was Bill Clinton's site in 1992. 1992, if you think back, was before web browsers. Very, very, very few people actually had internet access in 1992. So essentially this had no impact on the election in 1992. The Clinton campaign website, however, did post full texts of speeches, biographical information, position papers, and some advertisements online. And because access was so low, so minimal during this 1992 campaign, it really did little more than attract interest from nerdy academics like me. It really had no real bearing on the political outcome, even though obviously Clinton won in 1992. By 1996, most major candidates had campaign websites. Bob Dole, Clinton's challenger in 1996, was the first to mention it during a debate, and that was a big deal. It was the merging of traditional broadcast campaigning and this new internet-based campaigning for the first time. And laughably, Dole got his own campaign website wrong during the debate. He got the .com or .org in the wrong place. But ultimately, it was effective in at least advertising people to go there and find out information about Dole, who he was, and it was definitely an important first. In 1996, online campaigning did not extend much beyond the race for the White House. But that really started to change 2 years later, in 1998, during the midterm elections. During that election, the number of campaign websites really swelled. Over 70% of major party Senate candidates had campaign websites in 1998, and over 1/3 of major party candidates for the House of Representatives offered campaign websites. So we see internet innovation really starting at the presidential level, and that's similar to what we saw with broadcast, where the first televised debates, the first televised advertisements happened in presidential campaigning before Senate campaigning or House, and then they moved down to the House, or to the Senate, excuse me, and then the House after that. What's notable is that competitive races lead campaigns and lead candidates to want to innovate more quickly. So in 1998, in competitive races, those numbers of campaigns that actually had sites rose dramatically. In competitive races, those numbers rose to 100% of Senate candidates and 57% of U.S. House candidates that were involved in competitive racing races using campaign websites. In that same year, 1998, you see some other innovations, and obviously I need to talk about Minnesota whenever I can. During that year, our fairly crazy former governor Jesse Ventura, former pro wrestler as well, ran and won as a third-party candidate in 1998. And one of the main reasons why he was able to compete was because of his very innovative internet campaign. Ventura's campaign used his website and his growing email list to regularly update campaign events, defend against opponents' attacks, attract young voters, and raise money. Ultimately, in 1998, he raised $50,000 of his total campaign treasury of $600,000 online. And while $50,000 right today might seem relatively small, that was a very, very impressive feat at that stage of very early online fundraising.